Dr. King was one of my heroes. Dr. King was assassinated my senior year in college.
On the campaign trail and in many speeches during his decades in public life, former Vice President Joe Biden has talked openly about his political heroes, people like Martin Luther King Jr., Robert Kennedy, and former President John Kennedy.
He views himself as somebody who wants to look out for the middle class and also working class folks, and that certainly would be in line with what RFK, JFK, Martin Luther King were known for. So I think in some ways he probably does model himself after those heroes, and in a Democratic campaign, that's a pretty strong case to make.
But early in Biden's career, he also had words of praise for more controversial figures like John Stennis, a former Democratic senator from Mississippi who was known as an ardent supporter of racial segregation, voting many times against the Civil Rights Act and against the establishment of a Martin Luther King Jr. holiday.
To think that I would be one day on the floor of the United States Senate being paid such accolades by such a man of character and courage as John Stennis was beyond any expectation that I ever had in my wildest dreams.
Years later, he was called out for his support of Stennis and others by his competitors in the 2020 race for the White House, who say it took him too long to apologize.
A presidential nominee shouldn't need that kind of lesson or 18 days to recognize that an apology is necessary.
I regret it. And I'm sorry for any of the pain or misconception they may have caused anybody.
Political analysts say Biden is seen as an old-school politician who was able to forge relationships with people who had ideological differences, and that the controversy did not hurt him long-term.
I think when you look at his support that he's gotten in South Carolina, his support in other states, especially from African-American voters, this is a criticism that really has not stuck to him at all.
And while Biden's accolades for iconic leaders of the past may help him with older voters, it may not do much to connect him with younger voters, a group of people he will need support from in a general election.